Hello there, my bookish folks. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Reader. And I am the aforementioned reader, Varsha. For as long as I can remember, books have been such an integral part of my life. That is what has ultimately brought me to YouTube, to share my love for them on a much larger platform. While the idea of having my own channel is quite exhilarating to me, I've always been a bit scared of starting. After all, it's the initial step that's always the most difficult. And so today I finally just decided to jump right in and begin filming my first ever video. And I've been quite confused as to what I should put out there as my first video, and I decided that the most easiest route is the traditional route of doing the BookTube Newbie Tag. And so I hope you'll enjoy viewing what I hope will become my origin story on YouTube. And so without stalling for any more time, let's jump right into the first question, which is, why did you start this channel? Well, for me, books have always been such an integral part of my life, and I love talking about them at all opportunities given to me. However, I'm not surrounded with a great many people that I can discuss my books with in detail, and hence I've taken my love to a much larger platform. And I hope that I'll be able to build a large community of fellow book lovers right here. The next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? Oh well, that's quite difficult indeed. Since BookTube has been around for such a long time, over a decade by now, I doubt that I would be able to do anything that's never been done before. There are so many brilliant booktubers out there producing such beautiful content that I genuinely have no idea whether I'll be able to do anything wildly different from that. What I can bring that's different is a unique perspective on books, because every reader interprets a book in a different way. And I also look forward to talking about diverse sets of books. I would especially like to share my thoughts on the literature from the northeast part of India, since that is a region that has always fascinated me. Then we have the third question. What are you most excited about for your channel? Well, the very fact that I'm right here starting a channel is incredibly exciting to me. And as for what else that I'm looking forward to, I would say just about anything. I'm really interested in filming all those traditional type of book content, like book hauls, TBR videos, book wrap-ups, and even several vlogs as well. I'm just looking forward to all of it. The third question is, why do you love reading? And I think out of all the questions in this tag, this one is the most meaningful, because the way you answer this question really gives the person a deep insight into your soul. And well, for me, this question as to why I love reading, it's almost like asking me why I love breathing. It's not merely a matter of loving the activity. It is in fact something that is very vital for my survival. I cannot imagine even going a single day without reading. Reading gives you some place to go when you have to stay where you are, and oftentimes in my life, where I don't have any other source of entertainment, books have been what I have always turned to. And even when I do have access to other forms of media, it's always books that hold my very soul. And I doubt I will ever stop reading. Until my last breath, I know that I will continue to adore the pure pleasure of reading for leisure. Moving on to the fifth question, we have, what book series got you into reading? I don't think it was any particular series that sparked my love of reading, because I have been interested in books for as long as I can remember. Ever since I was maybe a toddler, I've always enjoyed looking through picture books that my parents got me. And once I started going to school where I could access our library, I would always go there during the lunch break to take out a book or two and flip through them. At that time, there were no particular series geared towards younger readers, especially where I'm from. So it was just anything I could get my hands on. If I could modify the question a bit and ask what book series did I first read, I would say it was The World of Geronimo Stilton. I devoured those books throughout primary school. I loved reading them, and I still remember the very first Geronimo Stilton book I read was Field Trip to Niagara Falls. Till this day, that memory is quite nostalgic to me. The next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Well, I don't think I have very many questions to ask them. I'm more in awe of their content itself. I would really like to know how they create such beautiful videos, because for me, the technical part of BookTube will continue to be a bit of a problem. But other than that, I'm just really grateful that they produce all this amazing content for us to consume. Over to the next question, what challenges will be the hardest with BookTube? For me, as I have mentioned, it will most definitely be the technical part. Editing a video and having to schedule it to upload, all of that might go over my head a little bit. But other than that, even the act of talking into a camera, I am not a person with stage fright. In fact, I thrive on the stage. But for some reason, filming a video in the privacy of my room on my phone seems so much more difficult than addressing a crowd of thousands. And I guess I'll take a while to overcome this camera shyness that I have, and I hope that I'll be able to project my authentic self throughout camera soon enough. Then we have the eighth question. When did you start reading? I have read for as long as I can remember. I'm pretty sure even when I was an infant, I would still stare at board books, obviously without understanding anything. But even so, books have been the very juice of my life. And as I grew older, I was able to read more different types of books. I would say it's definitely from the third grade onwards that I have read as frequently as I do now. Until then, it was much more sporadic. I didn't have very many books at home that interested me any longer, and I would have to borrow them from the school library. So from third grade onwards, I started reading full-length books, and after I hit fifth grade, I would have started reading all of the more popular works of fiction like Harry Potter or the Percy Jackson series. And now we have the penultimate question, where do you read? Well, I read just about anywhere I can find a place to sit. I do not really enjoy reading in my room, as it can be quite uncomfortable to just sit at my desk and read. I mostly read during meal times, especially once I reached high school, where I have so much work to do that I don't really have that much time to carve aside for reading alone. And so I would double up on activities and read whenever I could, which at most times would be during my meal. I would just prop open a book and read while I'm eating. Otherwise, I also enjoy reading in the couch in the living room, and I also don't face that much of a problem in reading on moving transportation. It just has to be larger vehicles with open windows. I would not be able to read in a car, but with buses and other forms of public transportation, that does not bother me. And the final question, what kinds of books do you read? I read just about anything I can get my hands on, but I prefer to read fantasy. That is where my interest lies. I like to sample all different forms of fantasy, all the niche genres that fall within the larger umbrella term of fantasy. And I also enjoy the historical fiction genre. Of course, I'm not a big fan of historical fiction set in Europe. For some reason that bores me a bit, but just about any other continent I would be interested in reading about. Literary fiction can be a bit difficult for me at times, so unless it's about a topic I'm very much interested in, I wouldn't read as much of it as compared to other genres. And middle grade is something which I absolutely adore. I do know that I am much above the target demographic now, but even then, middle grade just has so much whimsy to it that I have never disliked a middle grade book. I don't think so. Especially now that I'm older and I find myself bored by the repetitive formulaic types of writing in YA, I turn to middle grade for the comfort that I need while reading. And that's it for the BookTube Newbie Tag. I feel so much more at ease than when I started out. I guess practice makes perfect. And with that, we come to the end of this video. Do let me know if you would like to see any particular content from me in the future in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, do let me know that you did by giving it a like, and consider subscribing to ensure that you won't miss any new videos of mine. I have several interesting ones planned for the future. I'm so grateful that you're all here, and I hope that we'll be able to build a lovely little family in this corner of the internet.